In the quiet town of Mitama, rules lived like shadows. Don't wander alone at night. You don't take sweets from strangers. And most importantly, never ever speak to a woman in a white mask. These weren't the rules you'd find written anywhere, nor were they something adults would teach openly. Instead, they were passed down as whispers between children, warnings told in nervous tones, glances over shoulders, and lingering looks down empty streets. To Yuko Yamamoto, a curious 12-year-old girl, these stories seemed nothing more than eerie fairy tales until one early winter evening, when she met the woman with the mask. And suddenly, in that moment, Yuko's world changed. She found herself face to face with a haunting smile, a strange question, and the sensation of being watched, followed long after the encounter ended. This is the story of a town's darkest secret, of the woman who waited in the shadows, and of a young girl who couldn't forget, no matter how much she wanted to. Stay tuned as we unravel the chilling tale of Yuko and the woman in the white mask. In the town of Mitama, the children grew up with certain rules that weren't to be questioned, even if no one ever really explained why. You don't wander alone at night. Don't take sweets from strangers. And most of all, never talk to a woman in a white mask if she speaks to you first. The older kids whispered about the stories, sharing details under their breath, while the adults spoke of it in nervous tones, calling it nonsense, superstition, but always with eyes that looked carefully over their shoulders. It was the sort of thing that settled quietly into the town's bones, unspoken but understood. But for Yuko Yamamoto, a shy 12-year-old girl who liked her walks alone, these rules felt like the stuff of stories. Stories that only started feeling real the day she met the woman with the mask. It was early winter, and the sky looked nearly as gray as the sidewalk. Yuko walked home from school along the quiet, leaf-strewn path. She loved the way the seasons shifted. In just another month or two, it would all be blanketed in white. The streets were empty, still and quiet. And then, just past the bend in the street, a woman stood at the corner. She wore a long beige coat, slightly old-fashioned, with her hands clasped in front of her. A white mask covered her face, but Yuko could see her dark eyes peering through, soft and round, not at all like the harsh eyes of the women her mother knew. When Yuko slowed, the woman tilted her head just a little, and though she couldn't see her mouth, Yuko felt the shape of a smile beneath the mask. "Hello, Yuko-chan," the woman said, her voice gentle, smooth, like the voice of someone who'd heard many secrets. Yuko froze. She hadn't told her name, but maybe she'd seen her walking this route before. And anyway, what harm could there be in a little politeness? "Good afternoon," she murmured, bowing her head slightly, just like her mother had taught her. "You're a polite girl," the woman replied, inclining her head. "It's rare to find such a good girl these days." Yuko felt her cheeks flush, pleased. There was something comforting about the woman's voice, something gentle. "Thank you," she said, glancing back down the road, seeing only empty sidewalks stretching back to the school. She wasn't far from home. "Do you think I'm pretty?" the woman asked, so softly it almost didn't sound like a question. Her words hung in the air like the first snowflakes. Yuko blinked, taken aback. It was a strange thing to ask, wasn't it? But she thought carefully, tilting her head, meeting the woman's eyes. They were large and brown, almost kind. The woman's hair, dark and shiny, framed her face, making her look almost doll-like. "Yes," Yuko said, "I think you are." The woman's gloved hand moved to her mask, just for a second, pulling it down slowly. Her lips curved into a wide smile, stretching from one ear to the other, red and raw. The edges ragged as if someone had taken a knife and sliced too far. "Do you think I'm pretty now?" she whispered, her voice just a shade quieter than before. Yuko's eyes widened, a chill creeping up her spine. She took a step back, clutching her school bag, but the woman's gaze pinned her in place. Yuko wanted to scream, to run. But there was something about those eyes, that smile, something that made her feel cold from the inside out. She wanted to say yes, she wanted to say no, but her voice stuck, frozen. "You should answer," the woman prompted, her tone like a mother's urging, a hint of impatience creeping in. Yuko whispered, her voice shaking, "Why, yes." The woman's face softened, her wide mouth forming something close to a smile again, something almost kind, even as it stretched across her cheeks in red, terrible lines. "You're a good girl," she murmured, and then, just as softly, "a very, very good girl." With that, she turned and walked away, footsteps light and silent, vanishing around the corner as if she'd never been there at all. Yuko didn't tell anyone about the woman, not her mother, not her friends. But she didn't walk that way home again. And every time she passed a corner, she felt a pair of eyes watching, waiting, just on the edge of the streetlight. She never knew if she'd see that smile again, but the memory of it never quite left her. And even as the winter snow settled over Mitama, blanketing the town in cold and quiet, the children found themselves walking a little faster when they passed the shadows. If you like this story, and for more dark stories, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. See ya!